People would always judge you, even when you just stand still or just sit in a chair. They would still judge you. They would try to find a reason to criticize what you are doing, even though merely it is actually nothing. You could be just sitting in a chair, staring on a table, no phones, no headphones, nothing. They would still think that you are a weirdo, that you are staring at the table genuinely, and it is inevitable and out of your control. So thinking about others' opinions, or if you let them dictate your life direction, don't you think it sounds unreasonable? Seriously, I'm pretty sure you have seen some life lessons from old people, from interviews that, interviewer would ask some like old people that, what do you regret, or what do you think that you could have done? And a lot of the time they would say that like I shouldn't have cared about others' opinions, just something like that. I know that you understand what it means, but if you don't actually apply it to your life, it means nothing. Genuinely, understand it and actually live accordingly is a completely different thing. It sounds simple, but actually, you should try to be yourself more, even though if it would mean that others or a bunch of people around you will not like you. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter when you simply and merely want to be who you are and be able to express how you feel and just show your identity to the world. That's it. I believe that there would be so many times that you wanted to start something, but you thought like, wait a minute, people would see me, from another side, and some people would not like me for sure. Then what you decided to do instead is that then I'd rather stay in my comfort zone and people would not see me from another side, so I would not be criticized or judged, which is understandable, but think about it seriously. You know, if you were to look back, in the next 20 years, and you would feel regret that you haven't done it, and not, and like, after 20 years, who knows, you probably don't even have an opportunity to do that thing anymore, whether it is, texting to that person, or like approaching someone, starting starting the gym, or even like starting doing like social media and stuff. It can be anything, genuinely. You should not let others' opinions, like direct your life decision. It generally doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying that like you should not care about it at all, but just don't let it dominate, your identity, your thoughts. You don't want to feel lost in life and lose your identity. You know, sometimes we suppress who we are simply because we don't want others to deem us as a bad or a controversial person. But, bro, if it is your authentic self, then why would you care? You're just being you, and there's nothing wrong with that. You could learn, from others. When you express yourself, you would see others' reactions or like others' response. Maybe what you were believing is wrong, but you never knew because you have never expressed yourself to anyone, so you could never be wrong. You get what I mean? But then when you say something, and then if that person is, you know, if he or she is knowledgeable on that certain topic, they could correct you, and then, in fact, you would even gain something from them, so you wouldn't be stuck on the same false belief. You get what I mean? Genuinely, like, you can try to act like the best, perfect, ideal person in the world, like many people like you, because you're a nice guy, you look good, and you always please others, you don't argue, just, just be nice to everyone. Of course, that's good, you get what I mean? That people perceive you that way, but if you have to put enormous energy and effort just to be perceived nicely, I don't think it is worth it at all. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is that you can be nice, but you shouldn't put those energy just to please others. Trust me, even though if you were to do that, there would be some people who would hate you for being nice and friendly anyway. In my high school, there was a guy, he was from like section 4, like in my country, like one grade, like one grade could consist of many sections. So it would be like grade 11 slash 1 and then slash 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? He's from like section 3. I swear to you, almost everyone genuinely, like I could say like 80 to 90% of my um school students, they knew him, including me. Like, it is not that he's handsome or capable, intelligent, or anything, but it was quite. He's like a person who loves socializing. You get what I mean? And he would approach to everyone, not to flirt them, but just like wherever he goes, he would be like, "Oh, hi, like how are you, man?" Like if in the room there are like 10 people, he would greet like with the 7 people already, like just to like get to know them, even though it is superficial, but he would still do that. And some of my friends, they didn't like him because like, of course, like when you were being nice and you were known by so many people, it is natural that you would be hated or judged. And the reason why my friends didn't like him because like, he tried to, it is like some silly things, but like he was trying to flirt with my friend's girlfriend at the time, and they just didn't like him, and it's quite fake, a little bit fake, that's for sure. He was quite performative, try to be nice. Not just all of their students knew him, you know, teachers, they also knew him like, bro is that famous. I bet, not many teachers like are known like as much as him. So essentially he's quite famous in my school. He's not that good looking, in fact. He's just like below mid, in fact. But just because of that, it brought him so many opportunities, genuinely. And that's the point that I want to talk about. Some teachers, they see, you know, his authenticity and academic performance because like he always like asks whether what he's doing is right or wrong and just stuff. In my culture, people often shy when they're wrong. They're just gonna be silent, or when they, want to ask for something, it's just gonna be indirect or like after class and stuff. But like on the other hand, he would just ask teacher directly, just like he's okay with being wrong, and that's the point. You know, that's why like many teachers see what his capability is. So that's why like some teachers, they wanted him to compete in like academic field, so they trained him just so that he could compete in their state with other schools and stuff. Mind you, like I promise you, there are some students that are better than him, but they are like hidden gems. You get what I mean? They are really good at it, but they don't express it to the public eye, or in this case, like to their teacher's eyes. So you can be extremely intelligent, but if you talk to no one or just keep it to yourself, nobody's gonna know that you are brilliant. Of course, like you probably think it like, oh, but my academic performance shows like everything already, or my work performance already um proves that I'm doing good. But seriously, nobody actually cares nor notices your performance, because what they care is only about that performance. And that's the whole thing. You are not gonna be their first priority. So why would you care in the first place? And essentially, after graduation, he did like social media and stuff, and some hotels, they kind of made a deal with him that he could have take photos and like make like a video, like a review. You get what I mean? Normal review for that hotel, and then he would get paid. I saw it, and my friend just sent it to like a group chat and stuff. That's why I saw it, and that's what I'm talking about. His character has been shaped for years, that many people know how he is. That's why like he has potential more than people who don't express themselves, because they are afraid that they're gonna be judged. But he's not. And that is the difference between you and him. I really want you to think about it, like whatever that you want to do, or even if it means that your remarks will hurt others, but I'm not trying to say that you should be harsh to them. You should be nice, but just try to soften your words in a way that you would be able to express yourself, saying things that you believe in and stuff. And if people are not gonna like you, then so be it. You cannot control them like to like you, and in fact, the benefit that you would get from them is actually just feeling belonging. But the real strength is not social validation, it comes from inside. You gotta build, inner strength so that you would feel fulfilled on your own, not by others' judgments or, likes. Seriously, like they don't matter at all to your life? Do you think that, if you if there's so many people who like you, and then once you are down, like in a really, really unforeseen, horrible situation, do you think they would help you? Like all of that, like, 100 of 1,000 people, whatever that you have, do you think that all of them gonna help you? Perhaps you don't even think that like five of them or like two of them would even hand a help. And that's the whole thing. You must allow yourself to free from others' judgments. You have heard it, I don't know, like a billion times already, I suppose. But you can get it, but if you don't actually apply it to your life, it doesn't mean anything. I can give you a bunch of wisdoms and you would be like, yeah, I get it. It is so right. That is so me. But then the next day, you only remember what I said, but you didn't apply it to your life. Then what is the point of, watching these self improvement videos just to feel good that at least you did something? No, bro, like you haven't done anything. Like, even if it sounds harsh, but at least I mean what I said. I didn't want you to like feel good when you were listening to me or listening to other influencers when they give you wisdoms. Their purpose and my purpose is to make you spiritually awakened of how the world actually operates. You already know it, but you don't actually apply it on your life, and that's the whole point. And I'm trying to demonstrate, how people are gonna act toward you being yourself. Because after this 100 years, seriously, nobody is gonna remember us. This moment is gonna be the past in history. Like right now, even if you're watching it like on a car or at home, these moments will not be remembered by anyone. Even if right now you're trying to embarrass yourself by just like sleeping on, I don't know, in the middle of the road, and then like a bunch of people saw you. Do you think after that 100 years people would talk about that? Fuck no, like it's not gonna be their, you know, main topic that they would talk about every single day. Of course, like it could be one of the most embarrassing moments in your life, but look at it carefully. In your life, you see the point? It only matters to you, not to them. What matters to them is their lives. We all have separate lives. You don't care about me, I don't care about you, like literally. And what I mean is that like you're not gonna, like cook for me or like buy like clothes or pay for my bills. And I'm not gonna do that to you either. So you don't need to please me or please your teachers, your friends. The only person that you need to care is yourself. Are you actually gonna be okay with the whole situation that you haven't been your true self for years, for a decade? Do you really want it to be too late? Like, do you want it to be like when you were 40 and you look back and like, I should have been myself at the time? Like, you shouldn't have had these kind of regrets like I could have, I should have, I whatever, right? I want you to live your life and try to make it worth it under material conditions. I know that there are so many things that you want to do or you want to talk about, but you just can't because, you know, social pressure, prejudice, and judgments, it like they seem harmful, right? Even though it is not physical, but psychologically it is. But if your mind is stronger than those opinions, they're not gonna affect you like as much as you thought. And if you want to start doing social media, one thing that I can recommend you is that block all of your friends or people who you know. If it would help you to start doing social media like content creation better, then block all of them. Genuinely. Every single one of them. Even it is your best friend, like your close friends, your family and stuff. Block every single one of them. It would genuinely help you, and I would start doing like TikToks and Instagrams next week. Yeah, because I've been doing YouTube for like almost a month now, and I think it would be really helpful. It would be like a short form, of course, like short form contents, and you guys would get to know me more. I would get to know you guys more. I think that is pretty much overall for this video. Think about it seriously. Like, I know that you are intelligent and capable, so you know what matters in your life more than me because it is your life. So just choose the best path that you will feel fulfilled and delighted in the long term, that you would not regret it in your life at all. Like, never ever. Try to make the right decision. And I know that you could do that. It's not beyond your capability. You're smart enough and you've been through so many horrible things, I believe. Yeah, man. I just hope you have a good day and see you in the next video. Thank you.